are you using your LinkedIn profile? And I would like to answer some of the common questions that I keep hearing from humanitarians as I coach them. And these questions that I would like to answer to see if you are using LinkedIn like many people who are um, using them for being successful in whichever area of field they are, making I don't know, millions, or even if that's not the goal, connecting with people, if that's how you are using it, which is a powerful way of using, or you are using it to hate more of what's not working. You are using it to feel confused. You are using it to feel hesitating, um, essentially feeling like that's not what you want to do or how you want to use it, right? I would like to answer some common questions that people have asked me and how or what is my take on it, and then see if you can use it, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so the first question that I think I get a lot when people come to coach with me is um, I am wanting to transition. I want to transition to either within the sector or to the private sector or to being their own bosses. And then they say that I'm just not good at networking. I don't know what to do and how to do. And then they tell me that I feel like I have to use LinkedIn, but I'm not good at it. I don't want to use it. And then as I explore why they don't want to use LinkedIn, they tell me because they're hating how other people are bragging about themselves, and that's not who they really are because they happen to know these people who are posting about their achievements. And then my clients then feel like they have a lot of like reasons why using LinkedIn is a bad idea, or using LinkedIn in the way that other people are using, like bragging and talking about the results that they actually haven't achieved. And then they have a lot of these like judgments and hatred about LinkedIn, and then they stop using it. Right? So that's, I would say, a common way that I hear people talk about if they're not using LinkedIn, or they're afraid of using LinkedIn, or they have a lot of judgments using LinkedIn. These are the main reasons why they feel they can't use LinkedIn to network, they can't use LinkedIn to connect to others. If this is the case with you, if you happen to find yourself in that category, then here's what I would like for you to do is, just because you hate how others are using LinkedIn and you don't approve of how others are using LinkedIn, doesn't mean how you should use LinkedIn, right? And I think this is just like an obvious way of me maybe stating it, but the reason why I want to say that you can use the LinkedIn that suits to who you are, that is authentic and natural, or like whoever you are as an authentic, natural professional, you can use LinkedIn in that way without sounding like the people that you're hating on, or without sounding like the people whose way of using LinkedIn you don't approve. Because if you keep saying that, okay, LinkedIn might be a solution to the problem I'm solving, which is networking, let's say, or being visible, if that's the solution you are, or LinkedIn you are seeing as a solution, then keep hating on it, or keep hating how others are using it, will not get you anywhere, and you probably recognize that, right? And also, it will not give you any added value in your spending your time and energy, except you just keep generating emotions you probably don't like generating. So therefore, if you are hating on others or how they're using LinkedIn, ask yourself what would be the purpose of you doing it, right? And instead of doing that, what if you could be thinking about how would you like to use LinkedIn that is beneficial to whatever you're trying to do, and how that would look like authentic to you, um, representing the real you, versus keep thinking about how LinkedIn is this, LinkedIn is that, or how others are this, how others are that, because that again is not getting you anywhere useful except getting you just feel frustrated, and that's not useful, right? So that will be the first answer that I would like to like bring your attention to is if you find yourself in this hating or disliking how others are doing it, use that knowledge with yourself to understand how would you like to do that instead of going black and white or like extremes of either you should hate on those people who are using it or you don't use it at all. What is the middle ground that would work for you and how you would like to use that? I think that would be more of a useful place to be and start from there. Now, the second question that I get a lot, which would be I feel confused as to how I should use LinkedIn, or rather, what title I should be using, or should I say, like I had a client telling me, should I say that my profile is like both for the private sector people who are looking at me as well as the humanitarian? If that's the case, then how can I do that in a way that's not confusing? Can I really do that for both, right? These are the questions that people have that they feel like they're confused about. So if that's the situation you find yourself in, then the question you haven't answered for yourself is how or what would you like your LinkedIn be doing for you, right? So maybe that's one way of answering, like asking yourself is what would I like my LinkedIn to be doing for me? Is it that I want my LinkedIn to be showcasing more of my visibility? And if that's the case, for what reasons, purposes? Is it the LinkedIn that I want my LinkedIn to be selling on my behalf? Okay, then how that can look like, right? Is the LinkedIn that's just a tool that, like a platform that allows me to connect to other people and comment on their work and engage with them? Is that really what I want my LinkedIn to be doing for me? Then how it can look like, right? So if you feel and confused in any way, then you haven't decided what would you like to use the LinkedIn for, or another way of looking at it is what would you like your LinkedIn page to be doing for you? Now, if your LinkedIn page, you would like it to be selling on your behalf, then obviously you need to be clear about what it needs to be selling, right? What services of yours it needs to be selling and to whom specifically are the questions you haven't answered. That's why you feel confused about. If you feel you want the LinkedIn to just increase your visibility, your brand, or whichever the way you call it, then you can also answer the question of, okay, what is the brand standing for, or what is the visibility for? Sorry, right? What is the visibility for? In other words, what am I trying to achieve by being visible, and to whom do I want to be visible? Is it the colleagues that are around me in the humanitarian sector who needs to see my visibility? Is it potential employers? If it's the answer is potential employers, then who are we targeting in the potential employer world? And then excuse me, what do they need to see to be able for them to say, okay, this professional seems to be the person we're looking for, right? So, in other words, before you answer the question of what title to put or what my profile should be speaking to this audience or to that audience, before doing that, we want to understand what we want the LinkedIn to be doing for us 24/7. And I always tell people that, okay, if you would like your LinkedIn to be representing you without you doing that all the time in the online space, then what would you like it to represent, to whom and why? And based on those answers, then you start getting clear as to, okay, who this page is for, why, how you are using it, and what are the things that it needs to be showcasing so that it increases your visibility or it increases your online presence or it sells for you or it connects you to people. All of those things start coming afterwards once you know that those answers. Now, the third question that I get a lot is hesitating about LinkedIn, right? So, in other words, we may have resolved the like we may have resolved the hating part. We may have resolved, okay, we decided that we're going to use it. We decided that we are no longer confused. We have our things all put out, and then we start feeling like, okay, we feel good about using LinkedIn, and then for some of my clients, I see that there is the hesitation starting. Hesitation about, am I really doing this well? How should I use it? What if I'm not using the way that I should? And all of those things, right? So I thought that those hesitations oftentimes lead us to being on and off on LinkedIn. And while obviously you decide how you would like to use LinkedIn, but if we have made some decisions as to using LinkedIn in the powerful way possible for our purpose, whatever that purpose is, and I would like to describe my experience of using LinkedIn that I believe is one of the powerful ways to use LinkedIn, then keep hesitating about it will make us engage with people some of the time and drop it on the others, and then coming back again, come in and leaving, and that will likely not yield the outcomes that we want to. Again, if the outcome is we want the LinkedIn to make us visible and active all of the time on LinkedIn, then obviously we need to be using it in the way that's consistent, right? Especially if we're wanting LinkedIn to be selling on our behalf, then we need to be using it actively and consistently. So that's why if you keep having those hesitations, I would like for you to really get clear with yourself as to why aren't you committing to using it to your advantage. In other words, what are still the objections and the reasons and conflicting ways maybe that you keep feeling like you're not good at it or you're not using it or you should know how and all of those things, and start solving for them or start understanding at least how I wouldn't want you to stop using LinkedIn because of judgments or fears, because in my head at least that wouldn't be serving your purposes in any way. But if you have decided not to use LinkedIn because it does not align with your values or who you are, then that would be, of course, a very different story. And I would say go and honor those decisions and knowing why this does not align with you and being okay with it, rather than keep then creating more conflict with yourself and rebelling against yourself as to, well, this does not align with me and this is not according to my values, but still if I had used LinkedIn then I would have been successful and all of this. Don't do that to yourself, because there are a lot of ways to make the transitioning and job search and networking successful without using LinkedIn. And in fact, if we were very systemic about searching for such people, we would also find a lot of amazing evidence of people who are doing all of the success they would like without using LinkedIn or social media altogether. Right? So that's why I would like for you to really understand what will be your reasoning for using it, then decide to use it, and then decide how you want to use it. If you don't want to use it and you have your reasoning that is related to values and alignment and all of this, and it doesn't, then don't even think of LinkedIn as a solution and go for many, many different solutions as a solution. But as I said, I don't want to advocate for you using the LinkedIn or not using the LinkedIn, obviously, because as I said, you can do it either way. But I would like to advocate for knowing your reasons why you would use it and use it in a powerful way if you decide to, and why you wouldn't use it. And not using it because of a lot of judgments and judgments and maybe hatred and disapproval that you haven't really questioned, or you haven't really asked yourself why that is. I feel like you will just not um, you will not have the powerful answers that you could have, that you can either connect to, okay, here is who I am and what I stand for, and this doesn't align, and therefore I'm going with it. Or here are my judgments and hatreds, and I want to understand and realize, are they the valid reasons why not to do it, or they're just telling me what are the ways that I don't want to do it, but what are the ways then I will know how to do it, and then go figure things out. So, the last point that I want to make is how to use LinkedIn in the powerful way possible that can serve your best purpose, best interest. At least I want to share from my example, right? I have used LinkedIn probably in the second or third year of my transitioning after I transitioned in 2021 January. And I hadn't learned about all the powers of LinkedIn that I could have from the beginning. So I wish that someone had told me back in the day how I could have used from the day one of my transitioning, but I didn't like no I it didn't come to my awareness, so therefore I didn't know. But the way that I have come to realize LinkedIn being one of my main platforms that I use to connect to other humanitarians and to work with amazing humanitarians to support them in their journey of transitioning, I have found powerful ways to use LinkedIn that have served me so much to this day, and I love using this platform. Now, the way that I use this platform is obviously I use it as a way to showcase my work and my thinking process, my philosophy, my process of how I support people, so that they then make their informed choices and decisions as to how they can work with me if they choose to. And that have been done in the way of me demonstrating my results, me demonstrating my processes, me demonstrating my achievements, me introducing and keep showing who I am and what I stand for on the regular basis, right? So I would say I show up on LinkedIn probably at least 4 times a week. And again, in no way am I saying that that's what you should be doing, but I'm just saying these have been the way that I have used LinkedIn, I would say, in the powerful way where I have been consistently sending my messages to people, to my humanitarian clients, and they have been able to see what I stand for, what kind of results I'm capable of creating with them, what are the things that I have created so far, what are the thinking processes, the movements, the changes in the mindset and strategy we can apply for transitioning that we can use. all of that I have been using consistently in my feeds. Now, how you could use LinkedIn powerfully, there are obviously a lot of ways that humanitarians are using it. I'm sure even you can watch a lot of um, videos about it. But at the bare minimum, I would like to suggest, if you have decided that you want to use it, if you have decided that this is for you, then I would like to suggest the bare minimum, do this following decision or make these following decisions. Decision number one is, who are you being on LinkedIn? Meaning, what kind of professional you are and what value you bring to whoever you are bringing value to, right? And who is watching you, meaning who would you would like your profile to be watched by or followed. And then what are the problems you're solving for them, with them, and how do you demonstrate those solutions? Do you demonstrate them in the form of results, impacts, opinion pieces, researches, um, engaging others, changing paradigms, changing or shifting discourses? Whatever the ways that you would like to do that, you can start doing that regularly, right? Whatever your regular is. Just because I say regularly, consistently, it doesn't mean it's 4 or 5 times per week. It can also be once per week, but we just need to be clear on who we are showing up as, what are we trying to achieve there, right? What we want the LinkedIn to be doing for us, and who is it watching, or who we would like to be watching our profile and following us, and what are the ways that we're solving those problems, what problems we're solving, what are the ways we're solving those problems, and how we are showing those on LinkedIn. Again, doing it in the way that feels authentic to you, right? Now, what are the ways that I wouldn't suggest? And this is obviously very maybe like overall direction that I want to, because I don't want to get into the nitty-gritties of what not to do, because it feels like everyone should find their own way of doing things and not doing things. But what are the ways that I wouldn't use LinkedIn for is dumping my hatred and judgment that I haven't processed yet. This is how I wouldn't use it, and I wouldn't recommend either. But then again, you decide how you would like to, right? So I wouldn't put anything that I haven't intentionally or I haven't processed through myself. I wouldn't just put it out there as an emotional vomiting or emotional, I don't know, hatred, or like all the things that I haven't processed. I wouldn't put it out there. I also wouldn't use LinkedIn as a way of just like keep reposting without having my own thoughtful insights or perspective to it. I wouldn't just keep reposting things, because if I keep reposting, I wouldn't know what other people will make of it, because it's still not my work in the end of the day that I'm reposting, right? So it wouldn't align with who I'm showing up as and what I'm solving for. So therefore, I wouldn't just repost it. And I wouldn't um, just comment because this is what I'm supposed to do, kind of thing, right? So in other words, when we're talking about how to make it authentic and how to make it in our own way, like beside not using AI, I don't use AI for any of my posts, any of the way that I interact. But I also wouldn't keep commenting on other people's work just for the sake of commenting. I have done that in the past, I must admit, but at some point I realized that that does not sit with me. It does not feel good, and therefore it also does not yield the outcomes that I would like to. Therefore, I'm learning currently how to genuinely interact with other people's contents and other people's works in the way that feels good to me, and I'm genuinely interested and reading and supporting and being there if I want to. If I'm not, then I'm not even engaging at all. I hear a lot of people, having problem with that and saying, yes, but you don't really have time, and you should just like find a way to engage with as many people as possible to get what you want. I can hear that, and I have also suggested that to people many times in the past. But I also hear people saying that that all feels very transactional and fake. And excuse me, and I wouldn't want this to be a transactional and fake. Therefore, I would really take time to be looking at some of the profiles that I genuinely love and interested, and I would continue following them and commenting on them, engaging with them. Excuse me. And I think that's a great way to engage and create really the sense of community online. So that's what I would suggest. And as I said, I don't use AI except maybe occasionally grammar checks I have done, but I would never use AI to comment or to post or to even this content that I'm doing. I don't even ask AI to be helping me because it just feels like it robs me of the opportunity to be creative myself, to be reflecting on my own work and putting things out there in the way that feels good to me. So therefore, I wouldn't recommend using AI for LinkedIn profile content at all. Okay, my dears, I feel like I have answered a lot of your questions about what to do when you are hating on using LinkedIn, when you are confused about it, when you are hesitating, and how could you use LinkedIn in a powerful way that you can start deciding on what is your way of doing it powerfully if you choose to. And if you don't, then what other ways you would like to network, connect to people, build relationship in transitioning that is different than LinkedIn or social media. If you would like to work on transitioning and resolving all the problems that come in your way, absolutely come coach with me.